Hello, everyone. IMS welcomes you all to Future You. Set your career compass right with experts insight. And I am Kalyani Majumdar, your host for today's webinar. So, today our topic is careers in business analytics. And so, we will be talking about opportunities in business analytics. We'll be talking about also the roles and responsibilities of a data consultant. How is data analytics different from business analytics? The core skills that are needed in business analytics to excel in business analytics, the top recruiters who are there, then the placement process, and many more interesting facts about business analytics in today's session. So today we have with us our speaker, Rahul Mehta. He's a data consultant with Mastercard. Rahul is a PGDBA alumnus, which is jointly offered by IIM Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur, and ISI Kolkata. Prior to his work at Mastercard, he has also worked as Senior Financial Analyst with Credit Suisse and as a Senior Associate with SG Corporates and Investment Banking. Welcome, Rahul Mehta, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi Kalyani, good morning. Thanks for having me, and a very good morning to all the people who are attending. I'm looking forward to a great interaction. And thanks for
Great.
that introduction, Kalyani.
Thanks. Great. So let's start from. So you worked as a senior financial analyst with Credit Suisse and
Yeah.
also as a senior associate with SGCIB. So what was the trigger for you to pursue a PGDBA after that, after working in these places?
Okay. Credit Suisse and the other firm Societe Generale, both are banks,
Hmm.
and for that matter, European banks. And I was working there in the derivative valuations. So it was primarily a finance role, and I realized after some time that we were primarily using Microsoft Excel, some a little bit of SQL, and some programming. But I thought that with the advent of big data and multiple AI ML techniques, I need to upskill myself because even every sector is going in that direction, and the data skills are the need of today. So that was primarily the trigger that led me to pursue for skills in data.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now you are a data consultant with Mastercard. So can you
Mm-hmm.
take us briefly through the process of how you got this opportunity? You can also talk a little bit about the other things in PGDBA, as in how exactly it progressed to your
Yeah.
becoming a data consultant.
Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned, I was looking at a program which could provide me skills related to data and would help me getting on the top of ladder as far as management goes.
Right.
So I look there was a good option in the form of PGDBA, which is also called postgraduate diploma in business analytics, and it is jointly offered by IIM Calcutta, IIT Kharagpur, and ISI Calcutta. We have already mentioned that.
Yes.
But the thing is, when in 2018, when I was looking for some good program, I think it was the one of its kind program in India, and with a very good ranking. Actually, in Asia, it was ranked second, I think, and in the world, it is also ranked in top 15 programs.
Mhm.
So brand wise, it was good. And also, yeah, the vision of the program was to create managers who also know how to work with data. So
Mhm.
traditionally, what happens is managers are expected to just basically go through the process, lead a team, etc. But as I mentioned, the data skills are the need of the hour. We I, you have a lot of data. What do you do with it?
Mhm.
Is the question, and the PGDBA was the answer to that.
Okay.
So this is a 2-year program wherein we spend one semesters each in the three colleges that I mentioned,
Mhm.
and the fourth one is the industry internship.
Okay.
And the best part about this program was that you get to learn the forte of all these colleges, right? I am from at I am Calcutta. We went through the management courses and all the case studies. At ISI, we learned all the statistics that is required.
Right.
And at IIT, we learned all the algorithms and the machine learning skills that we would need, the programming skills that a data consultant would need
Mhm.
for the work. And the fourth one was internship. Yeah, so I liked the program and I joined it. It is And let me tell you, fellow aspirants, if you plan to do something in business analytics, it's a steep learning curve if you are in a different field already. Because,
Mm.
for example, I was in finance, I
Right.
was not too much into programming,
Mm.
so it was a steep learning curve for me. And I think in a span of 1.5 hours, you learn a lot of mathematics, a lot of programming. So yeah, that was the first 18 months of the program, and the last 6 months, I fortunately I got an opportunity to intern with Mastercard,
Okay.
and there I got a hands-on experience on what you get to do on a day-to-day basis.
Mm.
And yeah, I liked the work, and then I continued with
Right.
Mastercard as a full-time employee. Yeah,
Okay.
that
Okay.
was my journey.
So, what are the roles and responsibilities of a data consultant at Mastercard, and is it very different from if you were working in some other brand or other company? Would it be very different? So, as a
Mhm.
data consultant, what are the roles and responsibilities, and also what are the roles and responsibilities of you as a data consultant at Mastercard? Just briefly, yeah.
Sure. So, a data consultant is generally a data consultant everywhere, right?
Right.
Um, I'll define data consultant for you.
Mm.
So, you have data, and now you just want to make sense of it.
Right.
That's the problem that you have in
Mm-hmm.
front of you. And how to make sense of it? You apply different statistical methods, you apply modeling, you apply different techniques. So all the things that we come across, these terms, right? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, statistical modeling, etc. These are all the terms that people will just throw jargons, but
Correct.
let me put it right there, those are just tools to solve a problem that you want to make sense of data. For example, let's take an example of COVID data, right? You want to just make sense of that data, you want to solve that problem, you want to predict who all can get affected by this pandemic, etc. You would use one of the techniques, which is complex networks, and you would try to solve that problem. So a data consultant, just what he or she does is they just have a data set. Company would just throw data sets at you, and they will say, "Acha, get us some insights from this."
Correct.
This is the the overview of the role. Day in, day out, responsibility would range anywhere from just basic cleaning of data, to modeling, to generating insights, to talking to clients,
Hmm.
or to leading the whole project, or to work on every bit of it.
Okay.
So the daily roles and responsibilities would range anywhere from pre-processing till the final insights generation and talking to clients. So yeah,
Okay.
it's a very versatile role, and you get to work on a lot of things simultaneously. That is the
Okay.
beauty of it. Yeah.
Okay. So, what's the difference? Is there any difference between data analytics and business analytics?
These terms
One or the other.
interchangeably.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, is
uh,
it the same? Yeah.
so yeah, so as I already mentioned, there is a lot of jargon throwing going around
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
right now,
Hmm.
because this field has been there since some time, but the market has, as far as the job market is concerned, it is not that mature, I
Hmm.
would say, because all the things that I mentioned, modeling, then deep artificial intelligence, deep
Right.
learning, machine learning, etc. Barring a few good organizations, I don't see pure data consulting or pure um, business analytics role anywhere. So
Okay.
in today's what is happening in today's in Indian market is that when you say business analyst, right, most of the people, what they are doing is, they are given up, so they are like managers, right?
Hmm.
They just need to document the processes that are needed to take a process from A to B. They need to lead a team, they need to document the whole processes, they need to integrate it with technology.
Hmm.
And what generally a business analyst does in India right now is, they just tell the management, acha, this is the problem right now, and we will face these problems in data.
Okay.
So if you look at it, there is no mention of modeling, there is no mention of statistical techniques, there is no mention of data crunching or generating insights out of the data.
Okay.
So the technical aspect to the business analyst role is still missing, and the data analytics bring that aspect to the business analytics,
Okay.
right? I've seen a lot of so the roles that you are talking about, the business analyst, right? It's the
Hmm.
business analysis. There is very thin line between both these terms, analysis
Okay.
and analytics. And
Huh.
business analysis is generally just looking at the business and talking about what are the gaps right now and what the organization needs to do in order to get from A to B, as I mentioned.
Right. Right.
Business analytics is to generate, so basically it's linked to data always. When we talk about business analytics, it's linked to data.
Hmm.
So for example, earlier the managerial decisions used to be um, subjective,
Hmm.
But with the with a lot of data coming up, all of this has now started becoming objective.
Okay.
Because we have data backed decisions. Data backed decision making is what data consulting or data analytics um, differentiates
Okay.
itself from business analysis.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like so you can, is it interchangeable? Data analytics and business analytics, is it interchangeable? No,
Yeah. So
it is.
analytics, when you talk about
Yes, yeah,
analytics,
yeah,
yes, data analytics is a subset of
yeah,
business analytics.
right.
So business analytics is, as I mentioned, any wherever you just take a problem
Hmm.
and you either describe the problem, you either predict the patterns, or you prescribe or you recommend something to a client.
Hmm.
That all comes under the big umbrella of business analytics.
Hmm.
A subset of it would be data analytics,
Okay,
wherein you primarily work on data.
right.
Yeah. So yeah,
Hmm.
this is.
And yeah, and as a data consultant, how is it different from, say, is it the same as a business analytics consultant, or is it very different from,
Yeah, so
again,
a
yeah. Hmm.
business analytics consultant would so I'll tell you, there are two parts to business analytics again. So one is
Okay.
the data consulting,
Huh.
and another is the deep ML and the machine learning and the artificial intelligence
Okay.
part, right?
Okay. Hmm.
So even when we were studying, we realized that there are two parts to this: the
Hmm.
general problem solving plus a little bit of data,
Okay.
that which can be achieved very quickly.
Hmm.
Normal problem solving plus data driven decisions,
Hmm.
that is different.
Okay.
Second would be pure use of technology, artificial intelligence or machine learning techniques. So there
Okay.
are some people who just work on that data, they work on a lot of patents, they do a lot of projects,
Hmm.
and it is heavy tech oriented. So there are two big legs of
Okay.
business analytics,
Okay.
as far as I see this. So
Okay.
yeah, data consulting and then heavy machine learning and artificial intelligence. When you say you want to do data science, I believe you want to pursue something in data science
Hmm.
later.
Hmm.
So yeah, the maths is a little on the heavier side, I would say. Um, yeah, you could start off with so there are a lot of open learning courses right now
Hmm.
on Coursera. There are many MOOCs. There are multiple sites, Udemy, EDX, you name it, you have it. Even on YouTube, you have everything on YouTube, and we actually Indians are very good at it. So there is a YouTube tutorial on for everything that you want to learn. So the so there are many resources that you could go to. I would say don't just pursue that because people are pursuing it,
Hmm.
because it is actually takes a lot of your um, brain time, I would say, and it takes a lot of time to understand that. So if you are how would you know that you are really sure to pursue that? You just go through what it entails, what are the things that they actually work on. And then once you feel that acha, okay, I'm comfortable with this, I want to pursue this looks very promising, then you can just start looking at the open learning courses and Coursera.
Hmm.
You could do you Kaggle is a very good site wherein people also, so the coding aspect of it, you could look at Kaggle. There are a lot of open projects, there are a lot of free notebooks that you could look at,
Hmm.
there are a lot of modeling techniques that you could learn from there. And once you are pretty comfortable with the bits and pieces of it, you could, if you want to pursue it all time as an all time job, you could go for a PG.
Hmm.
Or if I am talking to a just person who has just passed out from 12th, you could look at
Hmm.
some heavy technical fields, computer science, typically maths and computing.
Hmm.
You would want to take those fields if you want to pursue something in data science. Yeah.
Okay. Someone is asking, can you talk about your experience of the brief interview of PGDBA?
Sure.
Yeah.
So PGDBA actually is has a very small class limit. They
Hmm.
take in generally only 60 students from around the country, and so their interviews are. So let me start off with answering that very simply. So the questions are very volatile. They can ask anything and everything from your resume.
Okay.
But the interviews are not as grilling as a general MBA interviews, entry interviews go. Um, So for me, they asked me. So I pursued my master's in economics and bachelor's in chemical engineering from BITS Pilani before working at Credit Suisse. So they actually asked me some questions related to economics. They asked me some questions related to optimization that I learned while at college. So I think you should two three things that you need to look at. Similar to MBA entry interviews, right? First of all, be very thorough with what you have learned.
Hmm.
Whatever your resume or whatever your qualifications speak of, you should know everything and anything
Okay.
and everything about that. Secondly, if you have a job experience, they will ask what's the general things. They will just want to check you have you just spent time at your organization or you have learned something good at your organization.
Hmm.
So about your job. And third basic thing would be general knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, these three things should suffice, but generally their questions are volatile. You could go on the net and you would find previous interview experiences,
Okay.
and I think there is a PGDBA site maintained for that as well, where the alumni have put up their interview experiences, including our batch. So I think you would get a good 5 6 batch interview experiences on online. I think you should just
Okay.
search for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before joining this particular course, is coding a prerequisite?
No, it's not. The thing is, being an engineer, so generally, I'll tell you about the composition of the program. Right, we all of us were engineers. I was not surprised because, as I mentioned, it includes heavy math, and people only the people who are aligned and who want to work their way up using mathematics
Hmm.
or heavy data science, they generally take it up. But hardcore coding is not a prerequisite to join this course, because all the coding that you would need, you will learn during the course. So
Okay.
you don't need to be a coder. I was not a coder before joining this course, but now every day in day out I do a lot of coding as well. So yeah, you don't need to have coding skills, but a general introduction to languages and programming would obviously help. It would surely help. Anything, good maths knowledge, good programming knowledge, that would definitely help you if
Mhm.
you are in the program or wherever you are pursuing data science. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And does this program also train you a bit on machine learning?
Yes, the whole IIT Kharagpur semester, we actually worked on hands-on on a lot of machine learning and networks projects. We had labs wherein we learned all the programming that is required. Yeah, we had subjects related to um, analytics. We had guest lectures, guest speakers coming in from the industry. So yeah, we had pretty good exposure of machine learning. So machine learning is a part of the degree. So
Okay.
yeah, a good 6 months we give only to machine learning
Okay.
and related techniques.
So how is business analytics changing the consulting industry?
Okay.
Hmm.
So consulting basically is problem solving. You
Hmm.
see a problem and you solve it.
Hmm.
So traditionally, what used to happen is, so who are taken in as consultants are, first of all, the MBA grads,
Mhm.
right? They are taken in because of the systematic problem solving approach.
Right.
So traditionally what used to happen is they had their skills related to market research, related to all the techniques that are required to generally landscape a problem or to understand the extent of a problem, to define the depth, to make a roadmap how to solve it, and to talk to clients and give the insights. So this is all how a consulting process goes. But with a lot of data coming in, now the consulting has also attached a data bit to it.
Okay.
uh, in fact, the data bit was always there, because you can't say anything just out of your just based on your subjectivity.
Okay.
But now with data coming in, a lot of push is also there from the clients,
Right.
that we have this data,
Mhm.
and you work with it, you get something out of this. So these are general problems that
Hmm.
we get many a times, that I have this data, I don't know what to do with it, just generate revenue from this, or I have some problem, my employees are going out, there is a lot of attrition, or my customers are going, the number of customers is going low. Just do something with this data, we have this data, work with this. So yeah, so a normal consultant won't be able to crunch that data.
Mhm.
He would know how to talk to client, and he would know how to create a overall map of how to solve it. But the devil is in the details, right? You need to
Mhm.
actually work on the data. So nowadays every consulting team has an additional member,
Okay.
which was traditionally not there.
Mhm.
He's primarily the data analyst. He just works on data, generates insight for the team, and the consultant takes it forward.
Correct.
So yeah, this is how analytics is enhancing the consulting industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a question about responsibility in general management sector for PGDBA. So basically, yeah, if someone is interested to be in general management sector,
Hmm. Okay.
and but with business analytics background, how does it work? I think that's what the attendee wants to ask you.
Okay.
What kind of
So
a
if
career?
you, yeah, got it. So if you want to be in general management, I would suggest go for a general management degree. Because see, learning, so alignment is always necessary as far as my opinion goes.
Mm.
If you want to understand, you work in general management, just take a general management degree, and you could take some data related courses on the side if that is your goal at the end of the day. Because as I mentioned, this the degree is quite intensive in terms of the time that it takes. And yeah, even after the degree you need to work hard for this. It's not that it will come that easy to you. So
Right,
I would suggest go for some general management degree instead of looking at um, primarily a data degree. Yeah.
right, right. So, so what are some what are some of the business analytics career opportunities that one can look for, and also how exactly is the growth happening, as in from a junior level to a senior? How exactly are the growth opportunities in this field?
Okay.
Hmm.
So business analytics, as I mentioned, has two legs. Either you could go deep tech,
Hmm.
in deep tech roles, or you could go in shallower consulting roles wherein you don't need to do a lot of data
Right.
crunching day in and day out,
Hmm.
but you are basically like an MBA who also works with data. And
Okay.
actually, that was the vision of the PGDBA, to create managers who
Hmm.
can work with data.
Okay.
So, but there are I see two paths to this. So either you could, if you are very good at it, you like it, you want to work with neural networks, you want to work with GAN and deep machine learning and all those architectures.
Hmm.
You will understand machine programming and you want to do something good with programming. Um, one role path is to go into tech roles at in the likes of Amazon,
Right.
Microsoft,
Hmm.
then hedge funds who use algo trading softwares, etc.
Hmm.
Or you could go in consulting roles wherein you are solving a problem and you have a lot of data. Say, so we had some companies coming in, which you won't expect generally of a company to come in for a data role or data intensive role. We had Mondelez coming in, we had Cadbury basically coming in,
Okay. Hmm.
and we were pleasantly surprised that yeah, every company nowadays is trying to get into this field. So yeah, so another another path is to take do this data consulting, or say data analytics, which is shallower than deep tech
Hmm.
but gives you a flavor of data science. Every day you will get to for example, say Mintra or Flipkart, etc.
Right. Right.
They also have they also want people, or anything, you just name it, and that the position is there, that they have a lot of data,
Hmm.
and they just want someone to make sense of it.
Hmm.
That is um another part to take.
Okay, okay. So, do you have any advice for freshers? It's a question.
Yeah.
Any advice for freshers who would like to join PGDBA? How do they prepare for this particular program?
Okay. So PGDBA is just, if you look at the PGDBA question paper,
Hmm,
PGDBA question paper primarily consists of quant. Half of it is quant.
hmm,
The other half is verbal,
hmm,
and there are some DI and LR
hmm.
problems. So the level of the paper is a bit lower than CAT,
Hmm.
and there are 50 questions. And but the only difference with the CAT paper is that the maths that is required is your 11th and 12th
Okay. Hmm,
mathematics, which includes integration, algebra,
hmm,
arithmetic, etc.,
hmm.
which is not there in CAT. In CAT you would
Ah, ah.
get like distances, speed, time, etc. Those problems, which generally people from all field generally, because that's why they take a stab at CAT, because generally that maths is, I think, ninth, 10th class, ninth level maths, which is basically in a you have a time crunch and you have to solve those problems. But in PGDBA, the quant is basically 11th and 12th maths, so it is little more intensive than that maths. But yeah, just look at the paper, and yeah, prepare for those subjects. Verbal and DILR are pretty easier compared to CAT. So if you are a CAT aspirant, it is easier for you to go
Correct.
into PGDBA.
Mhm.
Um, because you will crack that exam if
Okay.
you are good with that maths. The maths part is the thing that you need to take care of. Other things are similar as CAT.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So let's talk about now that you're talking about, math is very important for PGDBA. So what are the other core skills that you must have to excel in
okay.
business analytics, not just for this particular program, but basically, if anybody would like to pursue a career in business analytics, what
Yeah.
are the core skills you must have?
Must have. Okay. So the core skills that you must have, I'll just lay it down right now. First of all, maths, which consists of probability, statistics,
Mm,
then matrices, matrix algebra. You
mhm.
would be surprised once you come into the program that matrix algebra would be one of the toughest thing that you would come across. That in 11th and 12th we see that acha, it's very
Ah.
easy, but here it is in on an altogether different level.
Mm.
Other than that, you would need to have knowledge of programming languages. I saw some question related to what all programming languages
Yes,
we should
yeah.
know.
Mm,
So I'll talk about that. You need to know the prerequisite is Python.
mm,
Python is the go-to language right now for most of the firms that come in. Python, R. These are the two languages. R, theek hai. R, if you know, well and good. But Python, SQL. Again, many of people are already doing SQL in their current roles, but SQL is one of the requirements. Python is one of the requirements. On the side, you should need to know some business intelligence platforms like Tableau would be good. For other languages would be SAS, etc. That would be nice. But if you just want to learn one or two languages, Python and SQL are the go-to languages that you should learn. If you don't want to go into degree, you want to self-learn, you need to
mm,
learn Python, you need to learn SQL. You in as far as maths goes, you need to learn probability, statistics, um, and in machine learning, you would need to understand machine learning, deep
mm,
learning,
mm,
networks, and when I say deep learning, it would go as neural networks, GANs, etc.
mm,
As far as the other stuff goes, you need to understand time series modeling. That is a very big chunk, and people generally don't pay heed to that. But time series modeling is very much required nowadays because you have a lot of data which has timestamps. You need to model that. Time series modeling is one of the prerequisites to get into a business analytics role. And last but not the least, the communication skills. Wherever you go, you are even if you are very good at math, you are very good with your technical stuff, you won't get ahead if you don't have communication skills. So yeah, you need to understand the communication skills. Acha, forgot one thing. You need to understand business as well. It's
mm,
not that you just look at data. Why it is relevant to some business, why I am working on this, how will it impact the business overall. So that's why you need some management skills as well.
mm,
So yeah, that is all in all. These
mm,
are all the skills that are required to excel at business analytics.
mm.
Yes. Yeah.
There is a question about, as a fresher in IT industry, considering MBA and PGDBA, does the latter limit our job prospects?
What are the two options? Sorry, I just
MBA
missed the
and
first one.
PGDBA.
Okay. So yeah, that's a very good question.
He's a fresher in IT industry, so yeah.
Okay.
Mm,
Um, so um, so let me put it this way. The thing is, the job market in India
mm,
is currently not mature as far as PGDBA is concerned,
okay.
because there are few coveted roles wherein you would only PGDBA guys would be able to get in there,
Okay.
and there is no chance that the any other grad could take those roles, because that is pretty intensive, and the roles and responsibilities that I mentioned, a general MBA degree won't necessarily equip you with those skills. But looking at an individual's career growth, if you just are looking for a mature market and a very comfortable role in India,
Mm,
you could go for MBA, because
okay.
for an MBA the career path is set.
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Because the MBA, right? CAT. One day I was discussing with my father. Even in his times there was CAT. So CAT ka market, the MBA market or the management roles have been there since long, and there is set path that you get in as a trainee. You work on projects for some time, and you get to a higher leadership. As far as the data is concerned, that this role, as you would be understanding by now, that this is somewhere between a software engineer and a manager,
Hmm.
somewhere between, somewhere on that line, somewhere between, on that line. So the career path or the market is still not that mature compared to an MBA job market.
Right.
So you should be pretty sure before getting into this role. This seems very fancy,
Hmm.
and actually it is some fancy stuff. But and also the entry, and your entry is pretty, compensation wise it is pretty good and comparable with MBAs. I would
Okay.
say that because I've seen it firsthand.
Hmm.
So the averages are in line, in fact.
Okay.
And in fact, there is, if we go by the stats also,
Hmm.
I think the PGDBA averages are a little bit higher than the normal
So,
MBA.
so you think even the growth opportunity, as in, as you go into the senior level in business analytics, you have a higher salary compensation than
Um,
later.
I would say this a good jump.
Ah,
At just the
the
jump from the
beginning
graduate
itself.
to a
Okay.
the first entry would be a good jump for
Okay.
both MBA as well as
Hmm.
PGDBA.
Hmm.
Just that you would need to, as I mentioned, business analyst. The role is very, it's not that mature, I feel, and the data intensity of it is not. mm Basically, it is not being exploited right now.
Hmm.
So basically we know a lot of things, but we need to have a playground where we can use those
Hmm.
skills. And there are good companies which provide those roles, but those are very few companies, very good
Okay.
those are few coveted roles that
Hmm.
you would see
Right.
around yourself after a PGDBA.
Okay.
So if you want to lead a comfortable life,
Hmm.
and you want to switch roles between companies,
Hmm.
so you could go for an MBA. And but if you want to be at the cutting edge of technology, and
Hmm.
you want to just be at the forefronts of technology, because data would be the, people say data is the future. We are right now in the middle of it.
Hmm.
Data is actually changing industries, every
Hmm.
industry, you name it, and data is changing it. So if
Okay.
you want to be at the forefront of the technology, yeah, PGDB is the way to go, or any other data
Hmm.
science degree would be the way to go. Yeah.
So, which are the top recruiters right now that are attendees? By the time they are probably going to take PGDBA and then probably get into and finish their course in 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which are the top recruiters for now that they can look
um
for?
if you visit the PGDBA Calcutta site, you would see a lot of recruiters. I think they are already mentioned there. But so as I mentioned, there are two career paths, right? Deep tech,
Hmm. Correct.
and other is consulting.
Hmm.
So in consulting, you would see all the companies that you could name, and you would see them in the consulting list at least.
Okay.
And then there are likes of Amazon,
Hmm.
Microsoft,
Hmm.
Flipkart,
Hmm.
Mintra, then DE Shop, PwC.
Right.
So again, sorry, the PwC would come in a consulting
Mm-hmm.
field. But tech startups or tech companies that you would see, I wouldn't say startups, big companies also,
Hmm.
you would see around. I didn't see Google coming in in our placements for now, but one day. But and opportunities for an individual would be in anywhere in tech if he wants to go into tech roles. And another would be good consultancies, or as I mentioned, we were surprised when Cadbury came in. So Cadbury, or very good companies, you name it, Johnson and Johnson,
Okay.
Mahindra. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of the companies that would go for an MBA placements. I think most of them,
Would come for
yeah,
also
would
for
come for
business
PGDBA.
analytics.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, can data science experience help become a better manager? Do you think it kind of helps in looking at everything with a fresh
Yeah, as a fresh
perspective?
perspective, yes,
Hmm.
yes, for sure. I won't say it would be a big behavioral change,
Hmm.
but just that, as I mentioned, the subjectivity would decrease.
Okay.
With data coming in, for example, I would give you a very bad example. If a company is looking at um, attrition,
Hmm.
um, and they want to predict who all employees might at
Yeah.
right? A subjective manager would say, no, I feel this guy, but
Right.
look at the data, right?
Hmm.
I will, so as a data modeler, what you would do, let's take it as a problem. I'm a
Right.
person who comes in with saying, acha, I don't know who all will at right, just let me know the person who would at right. I'll say, acha, look at the data of login and logout times,
Right.
uh, the pattern of their holidays, etc. So
Yeah.
this jokes aside, this would actually give you an objective answer to your problem instead of just subjectively looking at people's behavior. So yeah,
Right.
so this is how data brings in um, objectivity. Yes.
Okay. So, when can you tell us a little bit about more about your experience as a data consultant? Like, the kind of challenge probably you faced when you became a data consultant with Mastercard, the kind of things, and how different it was from your being in analytics, like financial analytics. You were handling that before doing a PGDBA, right? So how different was that role from this role, as in your experience, your work with,
Okay. So the difference, yeah. So primarily, many times in wherever analytics is involved,
Hmm.
um, many times it is the environment is the consists of a lot of projects, short term, long term projects. So it's a projects environment. First of all, it's very different from a bank wherein a month in month out you do the same thing or similar things.
Hmm.
So generally, when I was in my previous organizations,
Hmm.
I used to work on this. I worked for around 5 years
Hmm.
before I went in for a PGDBA. So there after a month I knew, or after some time I knew what all things will be thrown at me the next month, what
Hmm.
all I need to work on, what will make this process more efficient. So our objective was to make the set processes more efficient, and therein I had the first exposure to automation and SQL and Excel VBA, etc.
Hmm.
Actually later I realized that acha, I have interest in automation, I have interest in increasing efficiency, so I should go for data science.
Hmm.
But in the current environment in Mastercard, so there are a lot of projects that are coming in, and you don't know what you would be working on in the next month or in the next quarter. Simultaneously you are working on a lot of challenging projects,
Hmm.
and those are all problems. You are the problems are thrown at you, and you have the data. You need to work either individually or in a team.
Hmm.
So that is very challenging, first of all, but gives you a fresh, it's fresh compared to the mundane stuff that you generally work on month. And secondly, the teams keep on changing. It's very dynamic. The word would be dynamic.
Hmm.
Compared to the earlier work, it is very dynamic because you don't know what you will be um, given tomorrow, and there is a lot of learning also. There were a lot of things even in my 2 years degree I didn't get to learn those, the ones that I learned on the job at Mastercard.
Hmm.
Even in our internships we had to create a lot of proof of concepts. We had to create a lot of, and Mastercard also encourages us to work on patents and work on innovative stuff. So the learning bit is, yeah, more, yeah, it's dynamic and it's fun. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question. Not too sure if basically, this attendee would like to know, since there are very few seats for PGDBA,
Mhm.
so what can be the other options for a career in data analytics, as in, and be ready for the industry? So if not this, then where?
If not this in analytics, or if not analytics, then what
No,
is, what's the
in,
question?
no, as in a career in data analytics for sure. But if not, if since it has limited seats, and if the person,
Okay, if not PGDB, then what is the
right,
question?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, ठीक है. So there are a lot of, after in these last 2 years, I see a lot of degrees just springing out of nowhere,
Hmm.
and every big school is now offering a
Hmm.
full-time data.
Right.
Then there you have the likes of Hubgrad, you have likes of, I think, um so there are many degrees coming out.
Hmm.
All the IITs though they are already technical colleges, they are
Mm.
engineering colleges, they are putting out specialized courses in AI, ML, etc.
Mm.
So if not PGDBA, there are few other colleges are good as well, but again, I think we have to wait and watch, because again, as I mentioned, they have
Yeah.
sprung up right in the
Mm.
last two
Mm.
years. So the given that they have a good branding, they would surely give you, if the placement is your only objective, they would give you good placements. But we should wait and watch just before jumping for any other. So PGDBA is in its, I think this time this would be the seventh season that people would be joining. This would be the seventh batch this year.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it has proven its mettle.
Correct.
Um, but for other, I would suggest, if not PGDBA, then go for other B schools. I believe they would to stick to brand in that case, because
Mm.
there is a lot of noise
Mm.
around. You
Yeah.
would see anyone giving out data science information or data science
Yeah.
courses.
Mm.
Look at just stick to brands in that case, if not PGDBA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Python needed before joining PGDBA?
It's not, as I mentioned, it's not a prerequisite. You Because you would get to learn Python on the job, and it would be on the sorry while in college.
Mm.
And it would be a very steep learning curve. It's
Mm.
not required to enter,
Mm.
but if you know it beforehand, that will be helpful to you,
Mm.
because you have n number of things to learn, and this will make it n minus one. So
Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
it will help.
And okay, so if someone is from a non-engineering background and would still like to get into data analytics and business analytics, so do you think they have a chance, or they should just give up?
No, I see. I understand. We have talked a lot about data, talked a lot
Yeah,
about
yeah.
math.
Hmm.
Um, it's not difficult to get into. It's not that a person who is from a non-engineering background should not get into this, but just be ready with what things will be thrown at you, and that would surely be a lot of maths and programming,
Mm-hmm.
and it will be difficult for them. And if they are interested, again, first thing is your alignment.
Hmm.
Even if you are from a non-engineering background, but you start off with some online course and you like it, you do a little bit of programming. Look at Kaggle. I've already mentioned, start off for a non-engineer, go through the stuff once.
Hmm.
There are ample learning resources available. You don't need to get a degree to understand data science, that is for sure. You need a degree to get a job in India at least. So India runs on qualifications,
Right.
right? But just if learning is your objective, you don't need to go for any degree. But if a job is your objective, I would suggest to go for a degree. And for a non-engineer, depend on our objective is the answer. If you just want to learn, go through the stuff that is there online. And there will be people uh, who are there, who are working in the industry. I think in LinkedIn also, I see people are very helpful. You
Hmm.
just connect them and they would help you with whatever your queries are. Try to tap into that human quotient. If you feel that you are not decisive enough to go for a degree right now,
Hmm.
when you are sure, then you can try pursuing something. Yeah. You can, and even when you want to learn it, go for some small course on either LinkedIn or another online courses. Go through those. If you feel comfortable, you want to explore further, obviously you can go for a PG.
Hmm. And what are the tips that you can give to our aspirants who would like to build their profile to stand out apart from the crowd? As in,
Hmm.
if they have already decided, okay, business analytics is my field, and now, how do I build my profile by the time, I finish my course? And
Yeah.
then, yeah.
Okay. um Depends on the role that you are already working in. If you are already working in a data related course, when I say data related course, so for example, when I joined as an intern at Credit Suisse,
Hmm.
I worked in the change management team. So basically it was sort of a business analyst profile already,
Okay.
not a business analytics profile, I would clearly say that.
Hmm.
So again, my work was to um, across a lot of work with a lot of teams, and
Hmm.
to bring efficiencies. And if I see some inefficiency, I would suggest some automation, and I would ensure that automation is carried out, etc.
Hmm.
um, so if you're already somewhere in around a data related role,
Right.
try moving slightly towards the role by pursuing certifications, by hackathons are a very good way to test waters.
Okay.
Okay. um Kaggle provides hackathons. There is Analytics Vidya, there is Hacker Earth, there are a lot of other stuff. There are a lot of other websites
Hmm.
which host a lot of hackathons every year.
Hmm.
Just once you have learned something,
Hmm.
try participating in those, and you will get a feel of what what is your actual standing as far as the modeling or the
Hmm.
data science knowledge is concerned.
Hmm.
If you feel you like it, you are having fun with it, and you want to solve such problems, yeah, and in fact hackathons help a lot. They add to your resume. Then these course certificates surely help a lot.
Okay.
India In India, qualifications matter a lot. So
Okay.
yeah, you would want to do some certifications before you want to pursue some jobs. Yeah.
Okay. So, someone is asking, what are the market scenario in India for data analytics? You did speak about
Yeah.
that, India is still in its nascent stage, but
Yeah.
then again, in the next 4 5 years, how it is going to be and everything. So, what's the market scenario in
Okay.
India,
Okay. Thanks for that question.
job wise? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had already touched upon that point
Mm,
earlier.
mm, mm,
The job scenario in India, I won't say that is in its nascent stage. There are roles, and there
mm,
are very good roles in a lot of good companies. Just that the role that you are expected, the role that you are expected to work on after a PGDBA is a little squinted. Some people consider you as a software engineer sort of person.
okay.
Others would consider you as a pure manager, but the companies also need to understand that these are the people who are
Mm,
managers plus plus. So yeah, managers
yeah.
plus, they have good data. So sometimes and but there are some roles wherein the companies who understand the importance of this degree, you will be just treated like kings there,
Mhm,
right? The companies that I talked about, they were like very in to take in people who were from our degree. And to just give you a perspective, obviously the batch size was small, but our placements were over in half a day. So people are very eager to come in and take um, us. But then looking at India's population and the people who are there, um, there are not even having said that, there is a lot of requirement of data scientists. um, People just don't, or
mm,
some companies just don't take people who haven't built a profile already,
okay. Mm,
right? So you need to build. So if you want to get into a profile, you want to get into a good role, you need to have a good profile
mm,
that will take you to places for sure.
mm,
But other than that, there is some struggle.
mm.
Yeah, that is what I feel.
Okay. So the tips would be what? Like one is, of course, do these, keep adding on these
Yes,
little.
learning is
Okay.
supreme
On the
in
profile.
this, at least as far as this sector goes. Just
Okay.
try to go through. Then there are, I'll tell you some more outlets where you could
Hmm.
just try go through archive. I came across archive some time back. In fact,
Hmm.
some years back. So it has again cutting edge papers on machine learning, data science, maths,
Okay.
economics,
Okay.
etc. And in fact, that is for a person who just wants to learn things beyond data science as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
Go through archive.org, those papers, and you would get a feel of what people are doing right now outside of India. We are
Hmm.
just People are just happy around in India that yes, eh, there is a lot of data science stuff
Hmm.
going around,
Hmm.
but we are doing nothing compared to what is going outside. So I would suggest learning is the main thing that is required, and practically to get a job, um, try getting try getting stuff done.
Hmm.
Participate in hackathons, do something good,
Yeah.
get certified. And
Okay.
because again, I don't want to discredit people by saying only qualifications
Hmm.
matter, or I won't want to discredit the companies.
Hmm.
The thing is, they have a lot of people. They see, even in this chat, I see 200 odd people
Hmm.
coming, or 250 people who attended. All of them are enthusiasts for sure.
Hmm.
They have interest. But a company has, for example, 5 roles they want to fill in. Whom would they take?
Hmm.
Just ask yourself. They
Yeah.
would take a person who has alignment
Hmm.
towards that role. And
Yeah.
how do you show alignment? you show alignment through certifications, through
Okay.
you show alignment through hackathons, you
Right.
show alignment through some innovative stuff that you are doing that nobody else is doing.
Right.
Look at GitHub. You look at GitHub and you will see a lot of projects being done.
Okay.
Work through that. Try creating something. Try creating. Try mix that. Some do some innovation, and that would help you stand out from the crowd.
Correct. Correct. So there is a question. Yeah, a lot of people are asking. They would like to know your interview experience during your placement.
During my placements, okay.
Yeah, because basically,
Place.
a lot of people are asking. Okay, you've already talked about, how the PI goes,
Yeah.
as in, those questions. But what
Yeah.
was your experience like? Is what they want to know.
Yeah. So earlier when I talked about PI, that was for the entry into the PGDBA
Yeah. So now
course.
they want to know this as well as, I mean, quite a few people are asking
Yeah.
both these questions. So.
Yeah. So in consulting, I'll tell you about my experience. So when if you are going for consulting companies, they'll surely give you a guesstimate.
Hmm.
And as when I talk about guesstimate, they'll just give you. So my question, I think the question that I got was uh, name. So they just asked name your favorite movie, and I
Hmm.
said I think I mentioned Stree. That time Stree had just
Hmm.
released
Hmm.
or something like that.
Okay.
So I mentioned Stree, and
Uh,
and the question was, Acha, just tell me how many people in India would watch Stree on this Friday. So that was the question, simple. So
yeah.
this is a guesstimate, and you can prepare for this. So
Okay.
so my this was, I think I gave two interviews, and one of this them was this consulting related to this question. This is a guesstimate that was
Hmm.
asked. Um, in another interview, the questions were based on my profile. What did you do at Credit Suisse?
Hmm.
How do you see automation? And some HR question random.
Yeah.
That some how what are your weaknesses,
Hmm.
etc. What your friends would say tell you. So it was, I won't say that was very difficult, and that is the edge that a good brand gives you,
Hmm.
because the interviewer that comes in, he already feels that acha, you know stuff,
Hmm.
and they would not grill you.
Okay.
That is the beauty of it.
Okay.
Out of, yeah, so they didn't grill me much. They just asked some simple questions on my resume, what I did, what I learned,
Hmm.
would I be able to help with that role, etc.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was
Hmm.
pretty much it.
How was your internship experience? You interned with Mastercard, and then, of course, you ended up with Mastercard. It must
Yeah.
have gone really well. But yeah, what
Yeah.
exactly, what exactly did you do?
They
And
felt that it was well, so yeah, I hope that I did something
yeah,
right.
yeah. Hmm.
But as part of my internship, I had to work on some proof of concepts. As interns, they don't expect you to work full time on live projects. So what they ask you is, they give you some problem and they just give you some time to solve that problem, is
Okay.
how it goes. So I had 2 3 problems that I had to work on, and those are again data intensive problems. And I can't talk about those problems right now
Hmm.
because of the confidentiality reasons, but I'll tell you that they were so Mastercard is a fintech company. They were problems were related to payments,
Hmm.
Mastercard payments, and I had to work on 2 or 3 proof of concepts.
Okay.
What I did was, on the job I had to work on Python, uh, some SAS, a little bit of SQL as far as the programming languages go.
Right.
As far as the consulting work goes, I had to check around with, because it was an internal project, I had to work around with internal stakeholders, managers, teams, etc. So yeah, while an intern, you don't get to talk generally, you're not expected to talk to clients.
Okay.
So I worked on internal problems, and I saved some time for the organization,
Hmm.
saved some hours somewhere,
Okay.
and reduced times, working processing time, etc. So yeah, that was how. And they like some innovative stuff also I worked on. I worked on some new things that were not being worked on earlier. And actually the question, this connects to your earlier question, that how
Hmm.
do you stand out from the crowd,
Hmm.
that you need to contribute a bit from your knowledge. If you just keep doing what everyone else is doing, and if you are not contributing your bit,
Right.
you won't go ahead. People are looking at you as an asset, because you are bringing something to the table.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was what I did. I tried to contribute a bit, and yeah, that worked out fine.
There's a question. Can I call myself a analyst if
Mhm.
I have 3 years work experience in data visualization, Python
Yeah.
programming, and big data, but I
Sure,
have
sure.
no exposure to ML and AI? Did you
Yes,
get the
yes.
question? Did you get the full
I get
question?
the question. I get the question. The question is that he or she hasn't worked with
Yeah.
ML algorithms, but
Yeah.
can they still call themselves data
Mm.
analyst? Yes, you are a data analyst. You are working on data. It's not that if you do all the things, then only you are a data analyst. Sort of. It's a very, I don't know. It's a very uh, this question
Hmm.
won't help you anywhere in life. But if it makes you feel good, yeah,
Yeah.
you are a data analyst anyway.
Actually,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I think, maybe, they're probably thinking, do I put that in my resume
yes,
that
you
I'm
could.
a data analyst?
You could surely put that. Thanks for adding that perspective, Kalyani.
Yeah.
Sorry for being so rude. But the thing is, yes, if you are working on, so visualization is a part of data analytics, and it's actually a big part. You crunch data, you apply models, but what is it won't matter if you can't communicate it to client, right? So
Mm.
this is where visualization comes in. This is where Tableau, this is
Right.
where charts, this is where PowerPoint decks come in, wherein you use these tools to communicate your um, findings in an intriguing manner. So yes, you could call yourself a data analyst because you would have created those visualizations
Right.
based on some models
Hmm.
and based on some crunching. You can't, yeah. So yeah, you can call yourself. But yeah, do try to work in ML as well if you want. That would give you a comprehensive
Correct.
understanding. So yeah.
Hmm. Uh, okay. Does PGDBA contain management skills? As in the course has, right?
Yeah.
Management studies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So the 6 months that we spent at
Hmm.
IIM Calcutta,
Hmm.
again they were primarily the management courses that the MBA grads also do.
Hmm.
Just that because we had a time crunch, so we didn't have a lot of time. So
Hmm.
the things that generally MBA grads learn in, I think, three times 3 weeks, we had to learn that in 1 week. So
Hmm.
the course structure was concise, but yeah, it covered the stuff that we used to, that generally a management course covers. Yeah,
Okay.
but it's concise and you don't get to. So consider PGDBA as an MBA with a specialization in data.
Hmm.
Like your normal MBA goes with a specialization in finance, with a specialization in marketing, with a specialization in sales, right?
Hmm.
MBA would be somewhere like an MBA with a specialization in data.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since you did speak about a little bit about compensation and you were kind of comparing a little bit with MBA, somebody has asked a question. ROI in PGDBA as compared to MBA?
On the similar lines.
Yeah.
On the similar lines, if you look at the top three B schools,
Hmm.
A, B, and C,
Right.
the averages are in lines, in fact, with the MBA placements. And looking at the IMs which are non-ABC, I think it's the averages are in fact better than those IMs. So ROI is pretty nice and
Okay.
gives you a brand as well. And in fact, talking about the brand, you also get a branding of ISIA and
Hmm.
IITs.
Hmm.
Plus, the good part is to learn at ISI. ISI actually is the hub of
Correct.
statistics,
Okay. Hmm.
the best place to learn statistics, and statistics is the actually the foundation of data science. So
Okay.
yeah, beyond ROE, if you talk about ROI, so I would understand ROI in terms of monetary compensation
Correct. Yeah.
and learning as well. So learning wise,
Hmm.
the ROI, I think no other course would give you that much ROI as
Okay.
far as the learning, at least the learning goes. Monetary wise, also it is in line with
Hmm.
the MBA schools.
That
Sorry, MBA
answers,
degrees.
yeah, that answers their question, I believe. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so most of our attendees are CAT aspirants,
yeah.
and obviously,
Everybody is.
yeah, and they're preparing for CAT. And
Yeah,
then, right after that, they'll be obviously sitting for whoever is interested in business analytics. They will be sitting for that. So
yeah,
they're asking, what were your, I mean, if you do remember back then,
yeah, yeah. I do remember. Yes.
yeah, how were
Yeah,
you preparing? As in, right after that,
yeah.
how did you allocate? Since you were talking about a lot of class 11th and 12th standard
Mhm.
math you had to prepare for and all.
Yeah,
How are you allocating now the time for till the interview, till the exam?
got it.
Yeah.
So as for my case, I was uh, okay. To start off, I was a CAT aspirant myself, and I gave CAT a lot of times. I had a lot of calls as well. I couldn't convert them for some or the other reason, but I had converted some of them, but I didn't want to go there. But If you are anyway, if you are preparing for CAT, right? Your verbal DI and LR is covered. That is for sure. If you are preparing for CAT, if you are preparing well for CAT,
Hmm.
three of the four sections are covered.
Right.
Given that you have prepared well. And for maths, right? If you have just lost touch, generally what happens with engineers? So there are two. I'll talk about two sort of
Correct.
uh, people. So for engineers, they don't lose touch with that maths, because we learn probability statistics while at college as well. I used to go through optimization subjects while at college, etc. So engineers generally don't lose touch with their maths. So
Right.
11th and 12th for engineers, I think it should be an easy revision.
Hmm.
It won't take time.
Okay.
For non-engineers, it would be comparably, it would take more time. It's not difficult. Let me tell you that PGDBA paper is, as far as I believe, that's not difficult as such. For maths, if you are just starting from scratch, it should take you. So for me, it took, I think, 2 or 3 weekends max,
Okay.
because I was in touch with with my maths, 11th and 12th maths. For
Mhm.
people who are non-engineers or who haven't touched their maths books since long, they should give more time in weekdays. Even if in weekdays you give 1 hour
Right.
every day for 1 or 2 months, I think that should suffice. I don't think that should be
Hmm.
more difficult than that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that should be
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Somebody is asking about the books that one can prepare from for mathematics.
For mathematics, NCRT, 11,
Oh.
12 NCRT. I just prepared from NCRT. But yeah, if you don't have confidence with maths, you could go for RD Sharma, the good
Oh.
old reference book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, NCRT should suffice, I believe, and a lot of practice. Even if you know your stuff, go for practice. Many people know their questions, but actually PGDBA mein time is not a crunch. I actually experienced that. I didn't think that there was a time crunch. जैसे CAT में क्या है, you need to just leave some questions, do some questions. ऐसा नहीं है.
Okay.
PGDBA you can attempt everything. So time is not a crunch. Just that you need to know your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All
So yeah, the NCRT should suffice. But again, if you are not sure, RD Sharma should also help. Yeah.
right. And so before we wrap up, Rahul, would you like to give any tips to all our aspirants?
Yeah. First of all, whatever I've said, take it with a pinch of salt. Everyone has its own journey, right? And out of anything that I've said, some things you might not agree with.
Mm.
I would suggest you to take your own judgment. Many a times, no experience or no qualifications would trump someone's gut. Okay? So just go with your uh, understanding. If you feel that you don't agree, other than that, if you want to get into this field, you need to so this is for any field.
Mm.
You need to have alignment.
Correct.
So just understand your journey. First of all, just introspect before going for any decision. What you have been doing, how does that match with your current aspirations? Is that actually your goal, or are you blindly just following everybody else is doing? And
Right.
you should get an answer. Once you get an answer, try working towards that. And I think the way to work towards that we have discussed about. So
Right.
yeah, and best of luck to all aspirants. I hope you do well in life. Yeah, thanks for attending, thanks for listening to me for an hour. That, yeah,
Thank you so
nobody
much,
listens to me
Rahul.
for that long, but yeah, take care.
That's all we have time for in this episode of Future You. Before we wrap up, I would like to thank all of your attendees. You guys have been wonderful. And special thanks to our speaker, Rahul. Wishing you
Thanks,
all a
Kalyani.
great weekend.
That
Thank
was a
you.
great
Thanks
discussion.
for
Yeah,
that.
thanks. Thanks, everyone. Bye.